name is Sandeep Prasad and I'm the Executive Director of Action Canada for Sexual Health and Rights. Action Canada is a partner of the Sexual Rights Initiative. The Committee Against Torture is reviewing Canada currently, and I've just come from the committee's questioning of our government, and it was very satisfying to see the committee raise a number of key issues, particularly looking at issues of forced sterilization in Canada as violations of the Convention Against Torture, questioning Canada on why there haven't been sanctions or reparations made to victims, and basically questioning Canada, what are they doing about this? Other issues that were raised include violence against Indigenous women and girls, particularly recognizing that issues of forced sterilization and violence against Indigenous women and girls are part of broader patterns of racism, sexism, and marginalization that Indigenous communities face. In the shadow report that was prepared by Action Canada and the Sexual Rights Initiative, we raised a number of key issues. First of all, this whole issue of forced sterilization of not only Indigenous women, but also women with certain types of disabilities. Also, we raised the issue of comprehensive sexuality education as an important preventative tool to reduce gendered forms of cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment, such as non-consensual medical practices, and basically underlining that consent needs to be a central aspect of all sexual and reproductive decision-making. And that was partly in response to certain things that Canada had raised in replying to questions of the committee in advance of the review. We decided that some of what the government was putting forward indicated that sex ed in Canada was much stronger than it actually is, and we wanted to indicate some of the systemic shortcomings throughout the country in relation to sexuality education. We're glad to be working with partners here at the review, such as, of course, the Sexual Rights Initiative, but also Amnesty International Canada, and Maurice Law, which is the law firm that is representing the plaintiffs in the class action in Saskatchewan over forced sterilization of Indigenous women. And this has been very good collaborative work here. The benefit of engaging with treaty bodies and UN human rights mechanisms in general is basically that they offer an important accountability tool for domestic organizations to take their knowledge of human rights violations in their country to an international body, and to have that body then turn around and ask questions of the government and make recommendations to the government for improvements. There's something very empowering for civil society in a country to see the UN or bodies within the UN taking up particular issues they've raised and saying, in fact, these are problems. These are problems with respect to violations of international human rights standards, and the government needs to do something to address them.